Chapter 11, Complex Surgical Instruments. Learning objectives. As a result of successfully completing this chapter, readers will be able to 1. Provide an overview of and discuss procedures to care for and effectively process powered surgical instruments. 2. Explain important basic concerns when handling and processing endoscopic instruments. Discuss detailed information about rigid and flexible endoscopes and their accessories. 4. Review general processing and inspection requirements for endoscopes and accessories. 5. Identify infection prevention concerns regarding endoscopes and loaner instrumentation. And finally, 6. Identify basic protocols important for each step in the loaner instrumentation process. Introduction. Advances in many types of surgical procedures have improved patient outcomes and shortened both hospital stays and recovery time. At the same time, the instruments used in these procedures have become more complex and difficult to process. From their origin in early times, surgical instruments have evolved from simple devices to complex surgical instruments that they are today. Forceps, scissors, needle holders, and retractors, along with numerous other simple instruments, are still commonly used, but they are joined by powered surgical instruments, endoscopes, and other highly sophisticated and delicate devices with complex components such as circuit boards and computer chips. Many of these complex instruments that central service technicians process require special handling and care. The instrumentation may range from a single instrument or a few sophisticated devices in a small tray to those that comprise many trays and consist of hundreds of devices. Whatever the specialty, the requirements for processing complex instruments remain the same: thorough cleaning, detailed inspection, proper packaging, and sterilization. One of the greatest challenges that CS technicians face is keeping abreast of new and evolving instruments and their specific processing requirements. Complex instruments are costly to produce and repair, and therefore represent a large financial investment to the hospital. Due to the associated expense, many facilities may not have backup instrumentation available. So careful handling of these instruments is essential. This chapter addresses basic information about some of the complex instruments that may cause processing concerns for CS technicians. Powered surgical instruments. The use of drills and saws by physicians date back as far as 5,000 to 7,000 years ago. In the mid-1800s, the dental industry took the lead in powered instrumentation by developing powered dental drills. The fields of neurosurgery, orthopedics, otology, and dentistry have also played key roles in the development of high-powered surgical instruments now used in every surgical and dental subspecialty. These developments have revolutionized surgery, making procedures both safer and faster. The size, compactness, and design complexity of powered surgical devices ranges from drills used on the tiniest ear bones to drills and saws used on the largest leg bones. Powered surgical instruments have greatly reduced the brute force historically required for orthopedic surgeries, and they have also decreased the time required to perform them. This in turn, has allowed surgeons to complete surgeries quicker and with more precision. Materials used to construct powered surgical instruments are varied, so careful selection of cleaning and disinfection products is critical. Products chosen must be compatible with materials used, and they must yield successful processing results. Equipment manufacturers' processing instructions must be followed to prevent damage to instruments containing lumens, channels, attachments, and multiple moving parts. See Figure 11.1 for an example. Figure 11.1 shows some internal components of a motorized handpiece and demonstrates the complexity of powered surgical instrumentation. Powered surgical instruments contain several working components that will be damaged if fluid, such as water or cleaning solution, is allowed to penetrate into the device's interior. Figures 11.2 and 11.3 illustrate the type of damage that occurs when powered surgical instruments and their accessories are invaded by fluid. CS professionals should be specifically trained to clean, process, and handle powered surgical devices and equipment and ensure that fluid invasion doesn't occur. Power sources. There are three main sources of power used for powered surgical instruments: electricity, compressed gas or pneumatic, and battery. Electrical powered surgical instruments. Electrical powered instruments are used when physicians need a lightweight instrument for procedures where access is limited, such as in maxillofacial, dental, and small bone procedures. Instruments powered by electricity require a power cable that can be sterilized. One end of the cable attaches to the motorized handpiece on the surgical field, and the other end attaches to a power unit, motor, or electrical adapter that plugs into the outlet. These cables require routine maintenance that involves disassembly, cleaning, lubrication, and inspection to look for cuts, nicks, and/or other damage. During cleaning, fluid must not enter the cable or handpiece. Many manufacturers recommend connecting the cable to the handpiece during the processing to help prevent fluid invasion. Care must also be taken not to bend the connector pins on the cable. An arthroscopic shaver is an example of an electrical powered instrument as seen here in figure 11.4, referred to 11.4. The most common problems associated with electrical powered instrumentation or equipment: damage to electrical parts during cleaning and sterilization, condensation that enters the equipment when seals wear out, electrical contacts that become worn and affect equipment handling. The following are general guidelines for proper care and handling of electrical powered instruments and accessories. Do not immerse the equipment in any solution, including water, unless the manufacturer's instructions for use specifically state that the device can be submerged. Do not use solvents or lubricants unless specified by the equipment manufacturer. Use a brush to clean the distal tip and lumens. Follow the instructions for use for the correct size and type of brush to use for each area. Finally, dry the equipment with a clean, lint-free cloth. Electrical powered equipment can be operated with a foot switch, foot-controlled pedal. See figure 11.5, which shows an operational foot pedal. And in 11.6, figure 11.6 shows a foot pedal damaged by fluid invasion. Foot switches may have cables to attach to the instrument console, or they may be wireless. To clean foot switches, follow the manufacturer's instructions and avoid pulling on or stressing the power cord or damaging the sensors. Pneumatic powered, air powered. Pneumatic powered or air powered instruments come in various sizes and allow the surgeons to work on small, medium, and larger bones. Sternum saws, sagittal saws, and drills are popular pneumatic powered instruments. Pneumatic powered instruments require a hose that can be sterilized. See figure 11.7. One end of the hose attaches to the motorized handpiece on the surgical field, and the other end attaches to the source of compressed gas, which can come from a standalone cylinder or tank with a pressure regulator. See figures 11.8 and 11.9 for an example of pressurized tanks. These pressure regulators are piped in through a wall or a column-mounted regulator panel. See 11.10 as another example. Instrument hoses must be carefully inspected for cleanliness. Note, these hoses are usually black, so it is often difficult to see blood and debris. Hoses must also be inspected for nicks and other possible damage. They must be pressurized for proper inspection. Therefore, an air source is required in the processing area. If the hose casing becomes damaged or bubbled, it must be removed from service. Fluid must not enter the hose or handpiece during processing. Many manufacturers recommend connecting the hose and the handpiece during cleaning to help prevent fluid invasion and related damage. Different types of powered instruments require different operating pressures, and a chart of these pressures should be available where the instruments are processed. CS technicians must be certain to follow the manufacturer's instruction and test instruments using the appropriate gas. Extreme care is required because testing instruments at an improper pressure can injure the operator and/or severely damage the instruments. See figures 11.11 and 11.2, which provide examples of air-powered instruments. To properly care for and handle pneumatic equipment, first, never immerse in any solution, including water, unless the manufacturer's instructions for use specifically states the device can be submerged. Next, to clean, insert the appropriate manufacturer's recommended cleaning brush into the attachment and burr guards. See figure 11.13 for an example. Next, carefully wipe and rinse the outer casing. See figure 11.14 for an example. Finally, use a decontamination hose to protect the inner components. See 11.15. And lastly, burr guards must be lubricated according to manufacturer instructions.